So I just want to welcome everybody to my channel or back to my channel. As you can tell from the title of the video, we are going to make some comfort food today. The next couple videos is going to be comfort food because, as everybody should know, we are transitioning from the summertime into the fall and the winter. We are going into the colder months, and as we do that, as a personal chef and as someone that cooks, even if you're not a personal chef, you should know that your dishes go upon the season. So this is what we're going to create, which is just a southern style smothered chicken with garlic gravy. It's a little twist to it because it is garlic gravy. You might have had this before and you might have liked it, but I just like to switch up stuff just a little bit. So if you keep watching, I'm going to show you exactly how to create this dish. So the first thing we're going to do is prep the chicken. Your grocery list is in the description box. So every time I make a video with chicken, I say this in all my videos, and it is a big debate with the culinary world and outside the culinary world. Do you rinse chicken when you take it out the package? The answer to that is no, you do not. You do not rinse it. That is correct. You're not supposed to rinse it, but you are supposed to wash it. So if you are just straight rinsing your chicken in water, that is incorrect. If you get in the shower, do you rinse off? No, you do not. You wash up. So the way that I wash my chicken is I use apple cider vinegar, probably just like a half a cup of that, and then a half a cup of lemon juice, and I just wash it in water. Then I rinse it completely in straight water, and then I pat it dry. So after you do that, you wash your chicken, not rinse it. You're going to cut them in half, just like I'm showing you right here. Very simple. And then after that, you wash all of your utensils and your station, and then you sanitize it. So the sanitizer is very easy to make. It is just equal parts of water and then either rubbing alcohol or peroxide. Now I get mine from Sam's Club. It's a big tub of it. The normal sanitizer that you see, if you've ever been inside of a kitchen, a bakery, or even a restaurant, you'll see them walking around with buckets, and they are pink. The solution is pink because they're using ammonia. So just go ahead and make it yourself. So after we get the chicken cut in half, we are going to season the chicken. So this is everything that I use. I'm just putting everything closer, turning it around so everybody can see it. These seasonings, we are going to season the chicken, and we are going to season the garlic gravy as well. The only thing that is not in this picture is the minced garlic. So please remember that everything, the ingredients and the measurements, are in the description box below. You can add as much as you want, you can add as little as you want, but this is my recipe, so if you want what I made, just follow it completely. So we're going to start off with the Lawrys chicken and poultry seasoning. I got that from Sam's Club. We're going to do about a tablespoon of that, and then we're going to do about a tablespoon of the Kingsford brand Cajun seasoning. It's not really spicy, it just adds a balance to it. Then we're going to add about a tablespoon of Creole seasoning, and then the dried herbs that we're going to use is going to be parsley flakes, and then we're going to use Italian seasoning. So everything is about a tablespoon of it. The Italian seasonings, you want to do about probably a half a tablespoon. You do not want a lot of this because it will overpower everything else. So next thing, of course, we're going to do is add some Lawry's seasoning salt. I normally do not add additional salt to my food, but we are making a very flavorful dish that causes for seasoning salt. So the seasoning salt is going to not only season the chicken, it's going to season the gravy as well. So the next thing we're going to add is about a tablespoon of this right here. This is the Lawrys chicken powder. If you have bouillon, chicken bouillon, go ahead and use that. Then we're going to use about a half of tablespoon of freshly cracked black pepper, and then we're going to add about another half of tablespoon of this garlic and herb seasoning from Kingsford as well. So after we get all the seasonings in the bowl, we are just going to mix everything up. You're going to make sure that everything is combined, all the seasonings is all over the chicken. You're going to take your time seasoning this. Don't be alarmed with the seasonings at the bottom because we want extra seasonings falling off. And in the next clip, I'm going to show you exactly why you want that extra seasoning. So it should look just like this. And now we are going to get some flour. So we're going to fry these. We're going to lightly fry these. So we need about a third cup of flour. and you are going to simply dump that into the same bowl with the chicken. We're not going to do one bowl of flour, one bowl of chicken. We're going to mix everything up together. So you're just going to combine that like I'm combining it right here, and you want to make sure that all of the chicken cutlets are covered and coated in flour. So now you're going to take a fry pan with the oil of your choice. This is avocado oil, well, a mixture of avocado oil and vegetable oil that I'm doing. And you are just going to simply lay the chicken cutlets into the pan. Make sure again that everything is coated right here, and try not to make a mess like I just did because some oil just dropped off and I just saw that. But you're just going to put the chicken in the pan. It's going to take 3 to 4 minutes per side. You do not want to, you want to cook it, you don't want it raw, but you don't want to cook it hard, because I know a lot of people like their chicken and their fish and stuff cooked hard. So we're going to lightly fry these. So you're going to flip them after 3 to 4 minutes, whatever preference you prefer. And then what you want to do is remove the chicken from the pan. So usually when you fry chicken, you either have a strainer or you have some paper towel and you drain off that excess grease. For this dish, we're not going to do that. You're going to drop it off a little bit, and then you're just going to put it into a bowl. And the rest of the grease that drains off in the bowl, we're actually going to use that later. It should be about 1 to 2 tablespoons. You don't need a lot, but you do not want to drain it in a strainer or a paper towel. So after you get the chicken out of the hot grease, and make sure you carefully do that because again it is hot grease, we are going to prep for the rice. So this is the kind of rice that I chose to do with Basmati rice. It is a Arabic rice. I just like this rice. I believe I got this from GFS. I'm pretty sure I got this from GFS for like $3 or $4. I don't know, but it's a good amount of rice. So the way that you rinse rice, yes, you do rinse rice. This is what you do rinse it. You just want to take 1 cup or however many cups that you want, and you simply want to put some water in a container and rinse it until the water is clear. Once the water is clear, you are ready to actually cook the rice. So this right here, I'm just showing you, you see this milky stuff? You don't want to eat that. You do not want to eat that. So this is why you need to rinse it until the water is clear, which means that the rice is clean. Make sure you use a mesh strainer just like I showed you, or you will lose all of your rice. So now the ratio for rice is 1 cup of rice equals 2 cups of water. So as you see, this is 1 cup of rice, so there's 2 cups of water in this pan. If you do 2 cups of rice, that means 4 cups of water. So I don't know why people can't cook rice, but that is the ratio. So there you have it with the rice. Now, the only rice that does not have this ratio formula is sushi rice. And that's a whole nother video. I got y'all covered on that one too. So after you get all the rice out, you are simply going to take the pot, put it on the stove, put it on high, bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, you are going to turn the rice off, and then you're going to cover it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone for like 15-20 minutes. Don't touch it at all. So now we are going to create the garlic gravy. This is very easy. Please do not be intimidated by doing this. So what we're going to do is we are going to take equal parts of oil, butter, and flour, and we are going to create a roux. We're going to create a white roux. So there are 3 steps to a roux. There is a white roux, a blonde roux, and a brown roux. We're going to do a white roux because we're doing a white gravy. So we're going to take oil from the pan that we fried the chicken in, and we're going to let that warm up first. Then we're going to gradually add the flour. I did not use all of this flour. This is just what I used to put the flour into the pot. But again, you want to try to do equal parts of oil, butter, and flour. If you add too much oil or too much butter, add a little bit more flour. It's to your liking. But that is the ratio, just like the ratio for the rice. So what you want to do is gradually add the flour, because you cannot take the flour away. You can only add. So right here you see me adding 2 tablespoons of butter. So you just want to melt the butter in the pan with the oil and the flour. You do not have to add the butter. I just feel like it added an extra layer of flavor because again, this is a garlic gravy. So normally when people do a roux, they would just do oil and flour or butter and flour. We're just adding the butter again because it is adding extra flavor. So once you get the butter melted down, it should start to look like this. Keep in mind this is raw flour. So the flour needs to cook for at least 1 to 2 minutes. And then after it is cooked, we are going to add about 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. You can skip this step if you do not want to add the garlic. It will just be a regular gravy and not the garlic gravy. So after you get that in, now we are going to gradually add 4 cups of water. So what you want to do is take a container, because you don't want to be running back and forth with 1 cup, literally adding it. But just measure it out, measure 4 cups out and put it in a container, and then gradually add it, just like I'm doing here. Right here, you'll see the gravy start to develop. And once you see that, you want to make sure you are breaking up all of the clumps from the flour, because they will form back together because of the butter and the oil. And they'll start to melt back down as they cook. So this is why I tell you to gradually add the water, just to make sure that, for one, you're not creating a mess, and for two, everything is combined well. Why is it thundering? Like, this thunderstorm just came out of nowhere, but whatever. We're gonna continue with the video. So gradually add the 4 cups of water. Again, do not add all of the water at one time. So you don't want it super thick, because if it's super thick, it's not going to cook right. It is going to burn, and you do not want to burn it. So after you gradually add, I would say, half of the water, you are going to season the garlic gravy. So I use dry parsley, Italian herb seasoning, and I actually used the Lawrys seasoning salt. So I used about a half a tablespoon of each. It does depend on how much you are making, but again, you do not want to overpower the gravy. And the worst mistake you can make is that you don't taste the gravy as you make it, and it is salty. Because if the gravy is salty and you put it all over the rice and the chicken, your whole meal is going to be messed up. So after you get the seasonings and everything, in there, you are going to whisk it. Now, right here, you can see that it got thick. Oh my God, this thunder! I don't know if y'all can hear that. I hope y'all can. But once it gets thick, you are going to gradually add more water. So you're going to gradually add it, let it cook about 1 or 2 minutes, let it boil just like it's doing now, and then if it gets back thick, you're going to add more water. You cannot take the water away, because if it's too thin, you would have to add more flour. So it does not have to be perfect. Again, I hope the tips can help you that if it's too loose, just go ahead and add more flour. If it is too salty, to balance the salt, you would add sugar. So now you're going to bring the gravy to a boil, and then you're going to take a spoon and make sure it is the right consistency. Right here at this point, when you mix everything up, you should check it, and then when you check it, you should taste it. If it is too salty, please add about a tablespoon of sugar. If it tastes fine, go ahead and proceed to the next step. So the next step, we are going to take the chicken that we fried, seasoned up and then fried, and we are going to add that to the gravy. Turn the pot down. It's still going to be boiling a little bit, but just turn the pot down just a little bit, and then we're going to simply add the chicken in. When the chicken is added, you are going to take about, it's less than a tablespoon. It's like 1 tablespoon of oil, and it's just the oil that the chicken was cooked in. That adds a lot more flavor than what you think. So you are simply going to smother the chicken with that gravy. So at this point, you should do exactly what I'm doing right now. You're almost done. I promise y'all, almost done. Some people said that the meals that I cook take a long time. They don't. They really don't. If you prep right, it don't take that long. So you're just going to flip them and make sure that they are covered in gravy. The name of this dish is smothered chicken with gravy and rice. So you are going to smother that chicken. Now, what people, I hope that you understand, is that you're not only smothering the chicken, you are going to plate your food, and then you're going to take some extra gravy and pour it on top, because most people eat it with, on top of the rice and all that stuff. So you are making more gravy than what you already need, but trust me, if you follow this whole recipe, you'll have just enough. So after you get done smothering the chicken in the gravy that you just created, you are going to remove it from the stove, and I'm going to give you a close-up of what it should look like if you followed my steps. It should look just like this, and now we are going to plate it. So we are going to grab the rice. The very first thing you're going to do is take 2 tablespoons of butter and put it in whatever serving dish that you prefer for the rice. You are going to fluff your rice. Yes, you need to fluff it. If you fluff it and there is water left, you did it incorrectly. But if you fluff it and there is no water left, you did it correctly. So you cannot overcook rice unless you boil it too much. So what we're going to do now is we are going to plate it. It does not have to be fancy. This is just how I always plate my food. A lot of people say, oh, you just plate stuff, you make it look so fancy. And it's just what I do. So we're going to create a bed of rice at the bottom. And then we're going to mix that gravy up and that chicken up just a little bit. So we are going to take 2 pieces of chicken. Now keep in mind, this was only 2 servings. I just sliced them in half. So it's not 4 servings because it's 4 pieces of chicken. It is 2 servings because it is 2 pieces of chicken. and I sliced them in half just to get an even coating of cooking. You know, chicken breasts are pretty thick, so I wanted them very tender and very juicy, so I sliced them in half. So you're just going to take one piece and then lay another piece on top if you want the whole picture that I did. And then you're going to take a little bit of that garlic gravy and you're just going to pour that on top. This is what I mean by you want a little bit of extra gravy, because most people they like the gravy in the rice too. So after that, you are just simply going to garnish the top of this with some dried parsley. Again, you do not have to do this. You can skip this step by all means. If you do not like dried parsley, do not do it. So all I did was took the container and I held it at like an eye level and I just sprinkled it on top for an even distribution. So after that, you are completely done and you have just created yourself some southern style chicken, smothered chicken with garlic gravy. So this next step, I decided to show you guys a bonus clip of showing you what I do with leftovers. So usually I just take the leftovers and I put them in meal prep containers, prepping them because I do not like to put platters of food in my refrigerator. If I have company, there's no food left. But if I just made some food, just like now, I just decided to make some, and then like the next day I have company, or one of my friends or somebody is at work, I'll decide to bring them lunch, and I'll already have it meal prep. And I have a lot of meal prep clients, so I have a lot of meal prep containers. So buying the containers in bulk gives me all the ones that I need for the 7-day meal prep, if they have 7 or 5-day or whatever, and then I have a lot left for myself, so I use those and then I just put mine in the dishwasher or whatever. But the meal prep clients, they keep their own containers, but I always have more than enough left over, so I utilize them. So right here you just see me put a bed of rice at the bottom, just kind of, you know, do the same thing as I did for the plate. And then I'm just slicing up some chicken, probably about an inch thick. But when you're at work, you don't want a full meal. Like, this is a lunch, basically. So this is just enough food for a lunch. So you just see me slicing it up. And then all I'm going to do is I am going to take the sliced chicken and I'm going to lay it on top of the bed of rice back into the meal prep container. And then after I put the chicken in a container, I'm going to take a little bit of extra gravy and I'm going to pour that on top. And you don't have to do this, but this is just what I do. I'm just showing y'all what I do after I make the meal, make the video. I'm not just putting platters of food in my refrigerator. Like, most of the time somebody gonna eat it, because if I have company over and I make a food, there's no food left. I have never catered an event. I have never had anybody over and made food and there has food been left for me to meal prep. And when I do just make food, you know, randomly, I have food left over and I always have quite a bit. So I decided to meal prep it so I'll be good for, you know, the rest of 2 or 3 days. Or if one of my friends is at work or whatever, they want lunch or something, I just surprise them to bring them lunch, or a family member or something like that. But all I'm doing here is I'm just garnishing it, and then I just put a top on the meal, and then I write what it is, and then I write the expiration date, and then that's it. I go ahead and put it in the refrigerator. For myself, I do not meal prep more than 4 days. I always do at least 4 days, but I do not go past that because some food can expire. I used to waste a lot of food, so to prevent that, this is why I started to meal prep my leftovers. So let me know how you guys like this recipe, and I will see you in my next video.